been diagnosed as having a thyroid nodule, and the needle biopsy was indeterminate, meaning that they couldn't really tell if it's cancer or not. So we actually have to remove the whole nodule to make the definitive diagnosis. And in taking out the nodule, we won't be able to tell immediately if it's cancer or not. We won't know for a couple of days. So if it is cancer, we may have to come back and take out the other nodule first in a second surgery. If it is not cancer, then we're done. You don't have to worry about it anymore, okay? In just taking out half of the thyroid, you can go home the same day. Typically not very painful. You know, most people get by with Tylenol or ibuprofen, but I'll give you something stronger if you need it. We make a 2.5-inch incision in a little neck crease here, so it heals up very nicely. It'll be virtually invisible when it heals. And all the stitches are underneath the skin and dissolvable, nothing to take out. There'll be a little paper tape over the incision. You can shower with that the next day, not a big deal. If it does come back as thyroid cancer, we'll talk about the potential need to come back and take out the other side, though, maybe in a couple of weeks afterwards. There are some important structures in the area that we're aware of. So on each side, there's a nerve that goes to the vocal cord on that side, called the recurrent laryngeal nerve. And it crosses a little ligament that we have to cut to get that side of the thyroid out. So we're cutting the ligament very close to this nerve, and it puts it at some risk of injury. But because it has such a predictable course, injury to that nerve is very uncommon, and the injuries that do happen seem to be usually temporary. But injury to that nerve could cause hoarseness and swallowing issues, things that we can manage. There's things we can do to help improve that. There are also what are called parathyroid glands in the neck that help to control the calcium and phosphorus levels in the neck. And when we take out the thyroid, those parathyroid glands can go to sleep, and you can get a drop in your calcium. If we're just taking out one side, the parathyroid glands on the other side should continue to function. So it's very, very unlikely that you would end up with a drop in your calcium level. So that's why you can go home the next day. If we do everything at once, take out the whole thyroid, then you have to spend the night because of that risk of your calcium level dropping.
Yeah, I know my calcium level has been high for a few years.
And that may be another issue. You might want to speak with Dr. Banuki about, because if we're looking at these parathyroid glands, we might, if we see a parathyroid gland that looks unusual, it could potentially represent what's called an adenoma. And sometimes these parathyroid glands can overproduce something called parathyroid hormone, which will raise your calcium levels. So we'll see. If we see something abnormal, we may potentially do a little biopsy and see.
Okay.
But we're not really specifically going after your parathyroid glands. We're trying to preserve those as much as possible.
Okay.
So, well, any questions about the procedure?